Everyone, it's Aislinn here. Welcome back to my channel if you are returning. Welcome if you are new. So we are Friday, June 19th. I'm in my comfy clothes for the weekend, and this is going to be a 24-hour readathon vlog. Now, we're about 10 to 7, so I think I'm going to start this at 7. Gives me time to finish this intro and maybe go get a cup of tea or something. I will be doing the timer method. So while I am reading, I will be running a timer, and then if I stop for any great length of time, I will stop the timer. And my first book is going to be The House of Bane and Blood. This is a dark mafia romance, but it's set in a fantasy world, so probably more like just crime families, crime syndicate. And yeah, it looked really good. So that is the first book I'm going to be picking up. And that's pretty much it for now. I will see you guys in an update clip, which will probably be in a couple of hours. And bye. Okay, so we are 9 o'clock. I have just reached 102 pages in House of Bane and Blood, and so far I am really enjoying the characters. Camilla is very no nonsense. So I really enjoy her, and I don't know what Nico's game is yet, but he's definitely into something. The world building's really good. I'm really enjoying how it's being revealed. It's not so much like information dumps, it's just being revealed like very organically. And basically there were these, what do they call them again? Remnants? Remni? And they were gods, from how I understand it. At least that's how they're being portrayed as. And there were 5 of them. There was Bane, Blood, Mirth, Giver and Greed, and Chaos. And this book is about their descendants. So their descendants have magic. And then there's like the everyday humans that don't necessarily have magic. So there's like this lovely little thing that kind of explains it. And the book is sort of explaining what each one is as it comes up. And so like for example, under the Blood Clan, the Wares, those are very vampire-ish type species. I'm not totally sure what the Benders are under Bane yet. Nico is one, and he seems to be able to control like metal and air, and so it's very elemental, I guess, but not like the Last Airbender type elemental. I don't know, it's a little hard to explain. We haven't really seen a whole lot of his power yet, other than that he has a fake arm, and he uses his power to control it's a metal arm, and he uses his power to control it so he can, you know, if you don't see it, like when he's wearing his gloves or he's got his shirt on, it just seems like a regular hand, but when he's got his gloves off, you can tell or he rolls up his sleeve, you can tell that the arm is fake, and he uses his power to power it and control it so it's very natural looking in its movements. So anyway, that's pretty much where I am right now. I'm really liking the dynamic. I'm 100 pages in, and even though this is a romantasy, there's like no romance yet. If anything, they're still in the enemies to lovers phase, and it leads to some kind of humorous banter, which I'm really enjoying. So yeah, that's it for this update. I'm going to probably go make myself a tea, get a glass of water, and then get back to reading. And that's it for now. Bye! Okay, so we are 11 o'clock. This is going to be my last video update for the night. I'm going to take a small break and then probably go read in bed for the rest of the evening until I fall asleep. I've got 20 hours left on the clock, and I am 203 pages in, so about halfway. And basically, in the story, this is a fantasy world. As I mentioned, it's a very slow burn romance. I am just now kind of getting into the romance part of it. And basically, it's these two rival houses, and Nikolai, Atano, is a descendant of the gods. They call them remnants. And then there is Camilla Marchesi. She is a regular human, but she owns a railroad, a steam train that's used primarily for like trade, and it's the primary, I'm going to say, like commercial transport in this country. And her family fell into money issues because of her brothers, and so she strikes a deal with a family to marry for money. And Nikolai, who is a rival family, he's the head of a rival family, he basically put an offer she couldn't refuse in. And they have an arranged marriage, and her family got the money, and she is giving him connections to her side of basically the country. He's got connections through a railroad now, and it's just mutually beneficial for both of them. There is a bit of a history between the two families that has come out that I'm not sure is a spoiler or not, so I'm not going to mention it because it feels very spoilery. And I think if you go into this, it's much better for there to not mention it, because when the relationship starts to grow, yeah, it actually feels like, you know, it's a healing of sorts. So yeah, that's basically where I am, and I'm gonna go now, and my next clip will be tomorrow morning. Bye. Okay, we're 12:30. I finished The House of Bane and Blood a few minutes ago, and I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like it lost any steam. It does some wonderful world building. The magic system is quite unique, the way they use it. And the character relationship, like I said, it's a really nice, slow burn. It doesn't, the attraction is there, but the romance doesn't happen until much later in the book than is typical for these kinds of like romantasy books, which I kind of liked because it really gave a chance to like get to know the characters to kind of build on a relationship before they jumped into an actual romance. And then when they confess their love, it's so much more satisfying, I guess you could say, depending on what you're looking for. There was one point in the book, though, because the synopsis makes it sound... So I'll kind of read a little bit of the synopsis here, where it says, for Nikolai, the marriage is essential to prevent a war, especially as a serial kidnapper known as the Collector has been ravaging the streets, stirring up mistrust between their opposing sides of the city. If Mila and Nico can find the Collector, she can walk away from their union with more freedom than she's ever known. But this deal plunges them into a deadly game of depravity between remnant magic and arcane science. And then as the two grow closer, the stakes grow even higher. Will they be able to trust each other enough to discover the truth before it gets them both killed or worse, collected? So there's this Collector, which is a plot point, and it's kind of a prominent plot point that brings them together. And you think it's going to be a plot point throughout the whole book. You're kind of expecting this little bit of this cat and mouse game, maybe, as they investigate. But it's really not, at least not until the very end. And I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but there's some twists and turns, and it ends in a cliffhanger that really has to do with that. But the whole story is really more about their relationship, the world building, their families. There's a few characters in here that you start out hating, but by the end of the book, you understand their reasons. There's a few characters that you start out loving, and by the end of the book, you hate them. That kind of thing. But this collector plot point, even though it's like this shadow that's happening in the background, and there are like little snippets and things of what's happening, it's really not as central as the synopsis makes it out to be. Which, don't get me wrong, that's a minor complaint, because the rest of the book is just so good and it's so well written and very character driven. Very, very character driven. So that's not a takeaway point. It's just, the synopsis does not really match what is happening in the book. Some people may find that boring because they might pick this up and expect like a very fast-paced kind of cat and mouse book, and because of that synopsis, and they're not going to get that. They're going to get into a story about relationships and pasts and interconnected, sins of the father, and how the fathers and, the children now are dealing with what's happened in the past, and how it's shaped the dynamics of not just the family, but because these are powerful families, their city and their world as a whole. So yeah, it's very good in its own way, but I'm a little confused why the synopsis makes it sound like it's more of a mystery with like a cat and mouse game when it's not. And it's not that spicy. Like I said, there's some sensuality. There is definitely some attraction, but like there is no spice until probably, I can't remember exactly where the scene was, but I'm going to say maybe within the last 100 pages. Like it's very, very late in the book, which I kind of enjoyed because I really was enjoying the rest of the plot. That I was not like, I didn't go into this expecting spice. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. A little bit of a mini review. Ow! Just whacked my glasses. I am going to now take a little bit of a break, and then I am going to jump into Servant of the Earth by Sarah Hawley. I think that's how you pronounce that. This is another romantasy. And this has to do with, if I remember correctly, this has to do with like fae and some trials and, overthrow of a king, your typical kind of fantasy stuff. But it looked really good when I picked it up, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of bought it for the cover. But the synopsis also seems kind of cool. So yeah, that's going to be my next one. In total, I have 16 hours and 10 minutes left on the clock. So yeah, when I come back from my break, I'm just going to get into that, and I will see you guys in the next update. Bye. Okay, so we are 4 o'clock. I have 13 hours and 19 minutes left on the clock, and I am 150 pages into Servant of Earth. I'm very much enjoying this one. Their world building has been very deep and very rich. This is really focused more on like the politics of the Fae Kingdom. And yeah, the characters, especially the main character whose point of view this is, Kenna. I really like her personality. She is feisty. She is very strong. And she's very opinionated, but it's tempered by maturity. She's defiant, but she's got a maturity. She knows when it's time to, bow your head and when it's time to be blunt. And slowly she is gaining a friendship with the Fae Princess, who she is helping through a set of trials, which will, if the princess wins, will grant her immortality, and she will then become the heir to her house. So yeah, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. It's very character driven, which I like good character driven stories. The world building is pretty good, and like the setup of like the Fey Kingdom and the different royal houses and that is kind of unique to like a romantasy setting, which I'm a little confused on this one because the tags for it all over the internet say it's a romantasy, but I mean, I'm almost halfway through the book. There's no romance, there's no attraction between characters, there's nothing. Yeah, I'm not really sure, unless it comes a lot later in the book or maybe in future books in this series. I'm not sure, but it's definitely not romantasy. I'd just call it a typical fantasy. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I've just reached to the section where the first trials are taking place. So a little bit of action going on, which I am going to get back into, and I will be back with another update in a little while. We're going to be sitting down for dinner here, probably about an hour and a half, and then I'll take my break then. Other than that, bye. Hello everyone, we're about 9:15, and I fell asleep for a little bit earlier. So I've got like 10 hours and 5 minutes left on the clock. I am on chapter 26 and page 313 in this book. And I will say, I know now why it's romantasy. And the second half of the book is so much darker than the first. This book does come with trigger warnings in the front of it. And I was kind of wondering where the trigger warnings were, because I had made it like halfway through the book, and yeah, it was dark, but nothing that like, it had been mentioned, but nothing like really on screen except for like your typical fantasy violence. But the second half of the book, yeah, the trigger warnings do definitely make sense. So yeah, just like with any book, it's just watch your trigger warnings. I'm really, really glad more and more books are coming out with those, because especially as someone that is a mood reader and someone that has certain hard things that I will not read about, it is nice to, you know, have warnings in the book so I can either skip those parts if I still choose to read the book or not read the book at all. So just saying that. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it is going. There is a couple characters that in the beginning, one started out as what I thought was going to be a main antagonist, but I think he's being set up as a potential ally. And there's one character that was an ally that is now, I think, leaning more toward being set up as a potential betrayal or enemy. I'm not sure. It's very, the writing is very good. It's very subtle. But yeah, so that's basically it. I'm going to take another break and stretch because my back is getting really sore. And then I will finish this book probably tonight, and I'll have to figure out what I'm going to read after that. So I think that's it for now. All right, so we're 11:30. This is going to be my last update for tonight because I am now to a point where I'm just going to go lay in bed and read until I sleep. I have 9 hours and 9 minutes left on the clock. I forgot my phone in the other room, but that's what I have left. And I am just about done with Servant of Earth. And holy crap. These last, I'm on page 383, and I can't remember what page I said I was on the last clip, but these last however many pages since then have been so good. The trials are getting deadlier, it's getting spicier, and it is getting so much more political. There's a whole ass like rebellion thing going on now. And yeah, so that's kind of where I am. I will probably finish it before I fall asleep. At least I hope I will. And then I don't know if I want to switch to an audiobook, because I have a Rena Kent book, an audiobook that I really kind of want to read, or if I want to go to Hunt the Villain, or if I just want to read Scythe. I'm leaning towards Scythe because it has been on my TBR the longest. It was one of my blind picks back in April, and I haven't read it yet, so might be a good idea to read it, and just kind of get it out of the way. I think it's like 400 and some pages, so it's not like it's a super long book. 433. So it's a long book, but not like a super, super, super long one. So yeah, I'll make that decision when I get to it. But this is the one I'm leaning toward, and I may or may not start it tonight. But that's it for now. I'm gonna go lay in bed now and read until I fall asleep. I better make sure I set my alarm so I can get up and do reading tomorrow, because Sundays are usually a day I don't set my alarm. And you know, I could wake up early, I could wake up late, it could be the afternoon before I wake up. Sundays are like my day to just veg out. So unless I have other plans, but so I better go make sure I have an alarm set, because we're doing a marathon and I want to make sure that I'm awake and up and ready to do a marathon, due to the marathon. I'm still waving this book around. I'm going to bed. I will see you guys. All right. We are Sunday, June 21st. I just woke up and it's like 8:30. Yeah, a little after 8:30 in the morning. I ended up with 8 hours left on the clock, and I finished Servant of Earth. Yeah, I really liked how that ended. I think it's supposed to be a series, so I might keep an eye out for the other books, but the way Servant of the Earth ended, really, it could be a standalone. I mean, there's some unresolved plot ends, but for the most part, it really wraps itself up. So, anyway, I'm still half asleep. I need a coffee. I have decided today I'm going to move on to Scythe, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go make my said coffee and get myself some breakfast, and then just jump into this one, and I should be able to finish, the 24 hours this weekend, because I only have 8 hours left, so cool. See you guys next clip. Bye. Okay, change of plans. We are like 11 o'clock. I didn't start reading until about 9, because I did go and have some breakfast and talk to my family for a little bit, took care of my dog, but I only got 22 pages into Scythe over the last 2 hours. So I actually am going to scrap that. I've reset my timer for 8 hours, and I'm going to go over to a audiobook so that I can maybe do some crafting or something, still get some reading in for the marathon, but do something with my hands so that I don't get distracted. And I've chosen Empire of Desire by Rena Kent. This is a standalone part of her Empire series of standalones. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and that's basically the update. So restarting today for the marathon. Oh, I gotta go upstairs and check out, but that's about, I hear yelling. Okay, bye. Okay, so we're 3 o'clock. I have 4 hours and 54 minutes left on the clock. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, probably get myself a cup of tea. I haven't had lunch yet, so I might go have a late lunch. And I have, because I'm listening to it at 1.65 speed, I have about 3 hours left in Empire of Desire. I am really enjoying it. I'm liking this kind of age gap, marriage of convenience, office romance thing that's going on. It's not as complex as a lot of her other stories are, or at least the ones that I've read from Rena Kent. But I mean, I'm still enjoying it. So yeah, I'm just going to continue on with that. I was playing some video games with the sound off so I could listen to the audiobook. And now I think I don't know what I'm going to do now. Probably go back to that. But yeah, so that's kind of where it is, and I will see you guys in the next update, which should hopefully be when this book is finished. All right, bye. Okay, so I'm a little after 6:30. I have about an hour and 20 minutes left, and I have finished Empire of Desire. I really enjoyed it. I mentioned in my last clip, I don't think it's one of Rena Kent's stronger books, but I did enjoy the characters. I did enjoy the overall story. She did have a twist at the end, which actually leads into another one of her Empire books called Empire of Lust, which I also have, but I don't really want to start that one. And I don't feel like picking up Scythe. So I went looking on my bookshelf, and I think I'm going to try these Rebel Waves. So this has to do, there's a pirate, a prince, a heretic. It's a YA fantasy. And it just says, a revolutionary, a raider, a prince will fight for their countries, their families, themselves, or face a war that could destroy the world as they know it. And it is apparently a bit more of a political intrigue sort of YA novel, fantasy novel. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I obviously will not get it finished, but I should be able to get a pretty, at least 60 or so pages, maybe 100 pages read in the next hour and a half, knowing my reading speed. So yeah, that's I think what I'm going to do, and then I will be back with the final clip. Bye. Okay, for about 8:30, I'm just now getting a chance to sit down and film my wrap-up. So I got 112 pages into these Rebel Waves. I am really enjoying it so far. We've had all our characters introduced. Now there's a bunch of world building going on, which, yeah, it's probably going to be my read this week, which will follow my my reading vlog videos, which will be back on. I start refilming them on Monday. So overall stats, I read 2 full physical books, 1 audiobook, and then 112 pages. Now the audiobook I read, The Empire of Desire, I went up and looked it up on Goodreads. It was about 368 pages. So that means in total, when I added everything up, it was 1,363 pages I read this weekend. I'm very happy with those stats. I don't think I've had a readathon that successful in a very long time. But I am now done reading for the night. So I am probably going to go watch some TV now. And yeah, that's it for this readathon. Next video will be weekly vlog for week 4 of June. Bye.